Hey yo, what is up everybody? It is the King Hitman here, and as you guys know, we have what is the official teaser for BT4 that dropped months ago, right? And the topic of this video is going to be BT4. This is my first time really trying to report on it, so I gotta make sure I do this well, right? I gotta figure out how I want to handle giving news. Now, let's get one thing straight for those that don't know my channel or not, really familiar with me or what I do. I play Dokkan mainly. I am a huge Dragon Ball fan. I'm an anime fanatic, but I definitely am not some sort of super official leaker or reporter or anything like that. I am simply a fan that has just as much information as any of you guys could have. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because we got news from somebody I do trust, who got info from people that they trust, and they always give us, as much information as they can within reasonable boundaries. You always got to make sure you're tiptoeing on these eggshells. We got information from Geekdom 101. Now, Geekdom, with his massive following, does his best to report whatever news he finds, interesting, and both interesting, true, and what's the word? I guess I can say, like, he can validate it, right? Like, he can make sure that no matter what, we can trace it back to him and be like, yes, he properly reported that. He doesn't want clickbait or anything like that, and he's getting it directly from certain people. So I want to go over what he said. Like I said, I don't have anything you guys don't have, all right? I'm just going over what he gave us a couple days ago. Now, Geekdom and his interest for Budokai Tenkaichi 4, by the way, he specifically said in the video that he has no idea what the game is actually going to be called. It's just easier to call it BT4 at the moment. It seems like it's going to be called Sparking, but who knows? Like, we have no idea, all right? We don't have an official release yet for the title or, the full trailer we're looking for. But he went over the roster size for the game. This is really interesting because the way Budokai, you guys know Budokai Tenkaichi 3's roster, right? If you're an old head, oh gosh, that's crazy. I'm calling us old heads now? Goodness, we are older now, huh? If you guys know the old game, we had a massive amount of characters. It was the biggest roster in any Dragon Ball game, I think, until, did Xenoverse 2 lap it recently? Like with the last couple DLCs? Maybe, I don't know that it did, but I'd have to go back and check. Anyway, he says that voice actors such as Sonny Strait and possibly, he's not sure, but possibly Sean Schemmel went into the lab and into the booth, and they were recording their voice lines for the English dub of BT4. He said it was a really important emergency recording, which, of course, if they're all meeting up or if they're all in, different booths and they're coordinating whatever they're doing, that probably indicates something big, right? So the roster size is also a big, massive point of his in this video. The roster seemingly is gonna have every single major Dragon Ball segment. So I don't want to say saga, series. I guess you could just say series. So it seems from his understanding with Sonny Strait in his video said,
I just got through recording a video game. A lot of screaming. Can't tell you the video game, obviously, but I played 3 very distinct characters, and my voice is shot. But I loved every second of it.
He doesn't say the name of Dragon Ball. He's trying to leave it up in the air, right? But we can do 2 and 2. He says, I went in the booth and I recorded for 3 different voices, a lot of screaming, a lot of yelling, but I was super excited to do it. Now, if you wonder who Sonny Strait is, he is a voice actor for the English dub of Dragon Ball. He most notably voices Krillin, but of course my favorite character. He does Bardock. He does characters like, from OG Dragon Ball, which is why I'm concerned with this and why Geekdom is saying that he most certainly believes it's for Budokai Tenkaichi 4, and which is going to lead back into my main point. He voices characters from Dragon Ball such as General Blue, Bandages, that Mummy, Piano, and Giru from GT, Giru the Bot. You guys know, Pan and Giru. So he does those voices, and when you hear that he's doing those voices, and then you think about the fact that Xenoverse covered a lot, and I'm sure BT4 is going to want to top whatever Xenoverse does by adding in even more you know, the filler characters, I guess you could say, the minor characters. BT3 did it, right? A whole gigantic roster. That would insinuate that Dragon Ball is included, Dragon Ball Z is included, Dragon Ball Super is included, Dragon Ball GT is included, along with a lot of, if not all of, a lot of the movies in between, and possibly, I don't want to, this is me speaking from me. I have no idea if this has been indicated at all, but this is me speak. Like, I gotta make sure I properly give my opinion and whatever I found out from the people we trust being Geekdom, but this is not him, this is me. I would assume that there's gonna be some Xenoverse content in there. I would think that there's gonna be at least like something distinct in the game, such as like something from Heroes, or maybe a nod to Heroes, maybe like Bardock, Xenoverse Bardock, like what Xenoverse does, maybe Toa and Miro. I'm really reaching. This is more hope than me knowing anything. I don't know anything. Like I said, I'm just another guy, right? So that's really interesting to think about, and he's saying that in leading back into the main point about the roster. That would mean the roster is going to be massive for it to include all the major characters from a lot of those series. When you look at Xenoverse 2's character, I counted it out. Shout out to Rakudu Fox, by the way. He posted the video for all of the characters in the game. This is Xenoverse 2 I'm referring to. I apologize. Xenoverse 2 to be specific, make sure everybody's on the same page. There are 150 something characters. I think like 153 is what I counted out. There's like 150 characters in Xenoverse 2, including all of the Xenoverse 2 DLC packs and all of the extra packs. Bro, that's massive. If I actually, it might even be at the time of this, he made this video on May 12th. I'm trying to see if I can find the gammas are in here. Okay, so yeah, it's about 153 or odd characters. That's a massive roster that BT4 would have to top. I, of course, am not including the variations. I don't even want to. The variations are just OD, bro. Like, you're not going to be able to. The variations, you won't even apply to Budokai Tenkaichi 4. That's not our concern. So, when you look at the 153 characters, plus certain characters, like I know Hit has his variations where he awakens, which is more of a transformation than anything. But I guess with Hit, it's slightly different. You got to make sure you understand this roster is going to be what we want it to be. Like I said, this is me talking right now. This is the fan chatting right now. This roster is going to be the biggest roster. If it's not the biggest, it's going to be the second or third biggest roster in any Dragon Ball game ever, including BT3 and Xenoverse 2. Raging Blast 2 actually has a fairly big roster, including all of the transformations, but that's in this conversation somewhere down the list for like the bigger rosters in these games. Massive, bro. That's all we want, right? We want to be able to play with our favorite characters. Of course, we want the Gokus, the Vegetas, the Gohans, right? But I still want my oobs. Like, I still want to have Super Gogeta from Dragon Ball Z and then Super Gogeta from the Broly movie, right? I want to be able to have multiple variations of Gohan, you know? And also another question that arises from Geekdom, well, I guess another... Yeah, he literally just asked the question, right? He says, if Dragon Ball superheroes characters are in BT4, even future games, does this mean we'll have both child versions of Goten and Trunks along with the teen versions from like the Dragon Ball superhero movie? You know, the manga is diving deeper into the characters for Trunks and Goten, them being in school and things like that. So does that mean we'll have like 3, 4, 5 variations of Trunks being, you know, Kid Trunks, Teen Trunks, GT Trunks, Super Trunks, and Future Trunks? Does that mean we're gonna have hella characters like that? Like, are we gonna have that many different ideas and possibilities for what the roster is gonna look like? I was just so excited when I heard that the voice acting is being recorded, because that insinuates like the game is definitely on the way. We don't have a date for it. It's, for me, it feels like soon, because it's already been 16 years since BT3 came out, but I know that's not soon to everybody. Soon to me is like within 2 years. Like, for real, that feels like that's the type of time I'm talking about. So I don't want to say soon, like later this year. That's ridiculous. It's not. It's nowhere near that done. It's not even halfway, I'm sure. So we got to make sure we assemble everything. From what Geekdom says and my understanding of what he was saying, the way I interpreted it, the voice actors are going to record the lines and then send them to the Japanese studio, and then the lines are applied to the game. I'm not sure. I might want to re-listen to what he said, but that's just what I'm getting. Mind you, what he's saying about Trunks is just a question. I'm probably going to have these tweets on screen, so you guys will be able to get it. But He's not 100% sure, but it seems like it will be bigger than Xenoverse 2 with all of the characters because of people from Dragon Ball Super who are in it. He specifically states in that video that characters like the angels and the gods of destruction, while they may not be playable, they will most certainly be in the game from what he believes. It seems like there are going to be a lot of non-playable voices in the game. So you got to make sure you factor in, like, not all just... Let's say Sunny Straight is like, hey, I did the voice for Giru recently. That doesn't necessarily mean Giru is going to be playable. He might be one of the menu characters. A lot of the older, I guess modern Dragon Ball games like Xenoverse still do it, right? But a lot of the older Dragon Ball games used to handle characters like that. They would have Giru and Pan as like a main character stream, main characters, as like the characters on the main menu screen of, say, Budokai 3, right? Or you might have certain screens, Budokai 2 with like Babidi and things like that, right? Or Budokai Tenkaichi 3 could have Bulma, you know how that type of stuff goes, right? So that doesn't necessarily mean that the characters will be playable, which I don't want to drag the roster further than it'll go, but this will most certainly be a massive roster, which is what we all wanted. Let me know how you guys feel about it, because you gotta keep in mind this is gonna include, I don't think that this game is gonna go without DLC. I think it will have a fair chunk of DLC. I don't know how they're gonna handle it, bro. Who has any idea? I can't tell you. I don't know anything, all right? I can't tell you which characters are gonna be there day 1. I can't tell you which characters are gonna be there on day 200, right? Who knows how much DLC they're gonna handle? I do expect DLC. I think it's naive not to. I think if we didn't have DLC and they dropped all the characters at once and then, I don't know, updated the roster every like 90 days or something like that with more characters, that would be one of the biggest gaming W's in history, because that's all we really want, right? We want that gigantic 200 character roster, but it's not realistic. I think it's naive, so I'm not expecting it. Don't expect it, please. You guys are gonna get your hopes up for a game that you absolutely should get your hopes up for, and then be heartbroken. That's not realistic, man. It's okay. You can still be very, very excited. So with that being said, let me know how you guys feel about it. I'm gonna try to cover more Budokai Tenkaichi 4 updates, but I'm just a guy who got it from a guy who is the guy, all right? So let me know how you guys feel. I'm really hoping for like I don't want to say another trailer. Well, I guess it wasn't a trailer. It was more of a teaser. I want to get like a teaser or something like that, so we have something else to bounce off of, and I can give my thoughts about what the game's looking like, or maybe some new information we have. Maybe they give us a general, you know, they say like fall of 2024, or spring of 2025. Who knows? It could be anything like that. I know that sounds so far away, but brother, sister, when you've waited as long as I've waited, it's really, it's not that long for you. It shouldn't be. Maybe you guys are so ready for it. I get it. We are most certainly excited for this. More excited for this than we have been in a very long time, from what I can tell. But it is the Young King Hitman. Hope you guys are waiting for BT4 very patiently but excitedly. And Hitman is off of this.